Of course, lately we've been tracking down folks that will be going into the New York State Stock Car Association Hall of Fame this season, and what a class it is. From the announcing side, Joe Murata, of course, and Jack Burgess, been two bigger names you cannot find, and a couple of guys who raced against each other a lot, that kind of synonymous with each other, Mitch Gibbs and Dale Plank. But the other guy is somebody I used to see a lot back when I worked for Glenn Donnelly from 1995 to 2005. Every racetrack I was at, he was there too. Joe Plazek will be going in. Let's head up to Plazek Auto Recycling up in Caister Center, Ontario. 79 career wins for Canada. Joe, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. The sun's out. No snow yet, but they say soon.
Nice. How big is this going into this Hall of Fame? I know you were just honored last year at Canandaigua at Atlanta Legends Raceway. Now the New York State Stock Car Hall of Fame. I guess that tells you what a career you had, that all these people still think about you.
Well, it's kind of funny, not everybody has the same opinion, because when the New York State Hall called me, we were on our way home I think we were down at Fallsview Casino. We were just coming back in the morning, and they called me on my cell, and I got off the phone, and wife Susan said, "Why can't they just leave you alone?"
Really?
So, you know what? She's as far as she's concerned, that racing thing has gone, right? It's taken its time and it's gone. But you know what? It is an honor, and I did talk her into going to Canandaigua last year. She did go down, and she had a fun time. A lot of the grandkids came, and it was fun.
Is she worried, and I already know the answer to this, is she worried that you might race again? Because I actually asked Joe that before we hit the record button, but that's a solid no, huh?
No, she's not worried about that. She's, it's just, you know what, it's part of the life that has passed us by now, and rightly so. I mean, you put a mother of 5 in a motorhome and run 18 races in 21 days and stuff like that. It's no wonder she has that opinion.
I can understand that, yeah, because once you came down here, you were down here often for, especially for Super Dirt Week,
Yeah, and hence the hauler and all that stuff. We just, once we left here last times, it was 5, 6, 7 days. And like I said, that one stretch was it was one of our records, 18 nights and 21 days, I think it was.
Well, we used to race a lot back then, let's be honest. And it seems like I remember going 29 days one time in a row myself. They raced a lot more back then than they do today, or does it just seem that way?
I don't know. Glenn Bank, we did the Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing, and then we did the Tuesday, Wednesday, and then sometimes Thursday. And then you're right back to, I remember leaving Grandview, Pennsylvania on a Thursday night after the show, and hauled back to Ransomville, which, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but it's probably a good 6-7 hours,
Mm-hmm.
By the time you stop and have something to eat and stuff like that. And, and the problem is we started traveling at night because, traffic's lighter, construction wasn't as big. Daytime is horrible because you never know what you're going to encounter, right?
So how did you get sleep then? Because I can see what you mean. I do the same thing too. If the race gets over at 11:30 or something, I'm on the road and rather get to the next spot. That's what we always did. But how did you manage sleep, especially with the kids and Sue and everything?
Well, lots of times when we got to the track, sometimes, we traveled in the daytime, we'd get to the track at, 3, 4 in the afternoon, and I would just crash for a few hours and then go to the pits. Or if it was an all-night driving, then we'd get there early in the morning, and it was always easy to kind of bunk in early in the morning and get a few hours in because, it was early morning and there was nobody milling around, sort of thing, right? So.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've also said it's kind of because I did it too. I stayed in a lot of those hotels. I didn't have the situation like you did, but life on the road can be a little lonely sometimes, and because you have that time when there's nothing to do. Like at 1 PM, what do you do, right?
Well, we never had that problem because if you were lonely, the car always needed attention, right?
Gotcha.
So, we really never, the hauler could be swept out, the floor could be washed out. There's all these things that you just never stop, right? And that's one of the things that racers, and that's what's hard for a racer to wind down, after he's done. Like right now, still, I go to the shop every night. In fact, we talked the other night. You gave me a call about this interview. I was in the shop. I go to the shop every night for a couple, 3 hours, and just working on stuff, and I still have a lot of hobbies, just not racing hobbies.
Why? What are you doing in the shop? And is that just a habit of yours after all those years?
Well, we've got the motorhome. It's an older motorhome, so it always needs work.
Okay.
I've got a couple Harleys that usually it's just maintenance stuff, right? Because I mean, snowmobiles. My son Michael's doing an enduro car now. I worked on it last summer a lot. There's just always something to do, and of course, kids throw stuff at you. And I say kids now; they're inching in on 40 now, so. They'll throw stuff in. Actually, like Mike all of a sudden said, I want to try this enduro deal. And I was like, wow, you've never sat in a race car before, right? So, we did it a couple shows. He did very well. And I was intrigued, right? So it's, they always laugh because once Dad gets involved, he goes full bore.
There's no way. Okay.
Yeah. It's like there is no second place, right? So
Must be nice. I know you're looking forward, I would imagine, to seeing the guys. But I would imagine Joe Murata, you guys were together at a lot of places. He announced a lot of laps with your name in there.
Yeah, Joe was, and he always had the flair for announcing. The mile was his. From where I remember Joe a lot was the mile, right? So I think I had a video of my. I think it was '93. We did the pole run there, and Joe announced it. And man, I'll tell you, even though you didn't even know it was a pole run, you were so excited because just the way Joe built it up, right? So.
How about the other two drivers that are going with you? Dale Plank said he kind of looked up to you. So did Mitch Gibbs. I guess you and Mitch were together at Canandaigua a lot, right?
Yeah, I raced against both those guys. I think Dale a little bit at Dundee when I was going to Dundee early in the 90s. And then Mitch ran Canandaigua, and I don't know the era. Mitch will fill me in on that probably in May. But, I was at Canandaigua from like 84 to 98. So there was a span there that I just don't know what era those guys that ran Canandaigua were in, right? So.
Well, he told me, because I had him on a couple days ago, if you guys missed it, make sure to go back. He talked about still working to get established, and he said he kind of looked up to you as one of the guys to see how it's done. That must make you feel good.
Well, I've had that from a lot of guys, and I didn't know it at the time, but, we were inspiration to many. Gary Tompkins was one that told me that at the Wall of Fame Canandaigua deal, and I've heard this from Matt Williamson.
Wow.
Stuart Friesen said that, you were the guy that really traveled and broke out of Canada. He said even Bicknell and those guys that were, good in Canada really didn't take the big block and go south, right? So, and we only did that really because when Ransomville and Maryville went 358, we just had an inventory of big block stuff, and we were just like, you know what, we're not going to get rid of all this stuff to run a 358 car, and that was the start of Dundee and Canandaigua and Wheatsport, and that was the start of staying down there all weekend and running those shows, and then probably Tuesday, Wednesday, wherever I think at the time it was CRC races, right? So, or school maybe at the time.
No, I do.
Yeah. When I started out, it was CRC. Yeah, when I started out, it was CRC Lubricants. I think was the main sponsor of that tour. And then it went to then I think it went to. There was one in between there. I think then it went to Skoal, and there's been a bunch of sponsors of that tour.
By the way, this event, we've been talking a lot about it, will be taking place on Sunday, May 5th. There is a Hall of Fame right there, a museum right there at Fonda Speedway, so make sure to go on up. I'm going to get there, too. I'm going to try to get these guys. Joe, I know you got somebody coming, so you got to go. I appreciate your time. I can't wait to shake your hand on this event and share some stories with you.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It'd be good to see you.
Be good to see you, too. Again, man, hit the likes, subscribe, leave a comment if you'd like it. If you have a suggestion, throw it in the comments. We'll make sure we get to it. Joe Plazek, part of 5 that will be going in this year to the New York State Stock Car Hall of Fame this year in Fonda, New York.